We are back with our PIPs, our Public Investment Plan. We have Strategic Budgeting and Innovation Project with Sam is going to kick us off. And then if you want to take a minute and introduce your folks, you can, but you have 7 minutes and then 7 minutes for questions. I also want to give a shout out. We have Councilman John Cooper is with us in the back, so we thank him for joining us. And as you know, not everything can get funded. It doesn't mean it's not a great idea. It doesn't mean that it might not get funded in the future. It just may also need to be fleshed out a little bit. So turning it over to you.
Okay. Picture an average Nashville citizen. Let's call her Amelia. Our city is made up of many Amelias of different ages, races, creeds, religions, and backgrounds. And they all have different ambitions, hopes, and dreams for themselves, for their families, and for Nashville. We asked the question, is the current budget process all about Amelia? And the answer was no. So together, let's make government relevant for Amelia again. Let's make the budget process all about Amelia and all about leveraging resources in the most effective way possible to better serve our citizens. The Metro budget has the ability to affect Amelia's life in a significant way, as every interaction she has with Metro has budget dollars behind it. Let me tell you a story about one of Nashville's many Amelias. Every morning, she sends her kids off to school and she takes the bus to work. On the bus, she studies so that one day she can get a better job. But sometimes that bus is late, or she spends the ride to work stressing about whether her children are receiving a quality education. She doesn't have any idea what we're spending to address these problems, and she certainly doesn't know if we're spending it in the most effective way possible. When her trash is picked up or a street is plowed after a snowstorm, she's happy and content. But if the trash is left behind or the street remains unplowed, she begins to wonder where her tax dollars are going. She is confused about how resources are allocated to the things that matter to her. The problem is that under the current system, departmental budgets aren't always focused on Amelia and her needs. Instead, they're often focused on the department and what the department thinks they need to provide adequate services. By changing the budget process and focusing on community outcomes, we can engage in conversations with Amelia to determine her needs and better align our resources with our citizens. Expectations of government are changing. Citizens now demand more accountability, more involvement in the processes of government, more opportunities to give feedback, and greater visibility of the ways their government is working for them. Knowing this, governments around the country and around the world are working to better align their budget with the needs and demands of their citizens. And we need to create our own new and exciting process to better meet the needs of Nashvillians. Now, our budget is focused on the past. We look at a department, what they did last year, and then we add or subtract. We don't upset the apple cart, and we rarely make meaningful changes. This process is repeated for each department throughout all of Metro. Until this year, departments have had limited opportunity and no incentive to collaborate, to improve services, find cost efficiencies, and leverage resources. When you think about Amelia, this doesn't make much sense. Amelia doesn't see her government as a collection of departments. To her, the government can offer food, safety, access to a job, and a better quality of life and education for her and her family. She doesn't care what department she gets her services from. She just cares that she gets those services. And so by using people effectively, changing our processes, and creating new tools, we can better connect Metro's budget to its citizens. Together, we want to create a purposeful, truly innovative budget process that is connected to community priorities, where the city's spending meets community need in a tangible and clear way, that's accessible to the public, where information on the city's budget is readily available and citizens feel informed and heard as the city both prepares and then spends its budget, and that's accountable to the public, where the impact that budget dollars have on the community is captured, measured, reported, and then used to improve services in future years. We've already begun to bring all the pieces of Metro's budget to fit together around Amelia as we've engaged in new budget discussions, required 3-year budget submissions, and introduced these public investment plans. However, what we've done this year is only the first piece of that puzzle. The time is right now to capitalize on the progress we've made and continue our efforts over the next several years if we really want to change the way Metro works for Amelia. To accomplish all of this, we're going to have to make a large-scale change to Metro's budget culture. We want to engage Metro and its citizens in a cycle of continuous improvement that doesn't start or stop with the annual budget process. By hiring a chief strategy officer and an outcome designs consultant, we will foster greater budget engagement with the community, enable the development of real community outcomes, and coordinate culture change. By creating a strategy and measurement team, we will give departments the tools and training to find collaborative solutions to new and existing problems, and then make sure that those solutions achieve their proposed results. Establishing an innovation investment fund will empower us to review project and innovation ideas both during and outside of the budget process and provide dedicated funding to innovate, collaborate, and solve Amelia's problems in an ongoing way. And designing the community dashboard means that not only will we measure and report how and if those outcomes are achieved, but the departments will be held accountable to publicly presented results and informed, engaged citizens. Here's what Amelia needs from our city's leaders to put Nashville at the forefront of innovative budgeting. In the first year, we would like to appoint a chief strategy officer in the mayor's office at a cost of $150,000. We would request $50,000 to hire an outcomes design consultant, ensuring the community is effectively engaged in the outcome design process, and then to test the validity of those outcomes. We would create the Innovation Investment Fund with funding of $500,000 per year, and we would establish the community dashboard online at a cost of $100,000. In year 2, we would like to create a strategy and measurement team of 2 FTEs under the leadership of the Chief Strategy Officer at a cost of $130,000. And we would continue funding the Innovation Investment Fund and Chief Strategy Officer. The project's total cost is 3 FTEs and $2.41 million over 3 years, with $1.5 million of that going towards the Innovation Investment Fund for reinvestment in projects such as this. If we do this right, Metro will have the tools it needs to ensure that Amelia is always at the centre of what we do as a government. If we do this right, Amelia will feel like she has the services she needs, she will feel listened to, and she will understand how the city is allocating resources for the things that matter to her. Thank you very much.
Great.
Spontaneous applause.
I was going to say from this conversation. Panelists, questions? Rich.
All right. Question. All this sounds really good. No question about it. But I don't, help me better understand what it really means to somebody. I'm not sure how you get from this feel-good soundbite to really a product that people can use. So help me understand that a little better.
Right. So I think the key part is the culture change aspect, and this is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable in a lot of different ways, and really just kind of trying to eliminate that disconnect between the citizens and the budget. So we don't really engage citizens in non-traditional ways. When we post the Citizens Guide to the Budget online, we have the State of the Metro and things like that, but we're really not engaging them when we're formulating the budget, and we're really not engaging them afterwards to tell them, you know, we approved this project, we gave it this X amount of dollars, it promised to deliver this, and we don't really know whether it's delivering that or not. So the key is really, you know, having somebody like a chief strategy officer in the mayor's office with the administrative buy-in that is going to get out into Metro and make people uncomfortable and say, like, you need to think about things in the way, and the questions you all have been asking this past week, in the way that affects citizens and return on investment, and can we do this more efficiently and effectively in another place.
Sam, why can't the finance director do that?
She already is.
I know.
I know she is.
From a practical standpoint, this is an article from The Economist this week about what Boston has done. And they have a program called City Score, which takes these metrics, so sort of their mayor has set 5 or 6 major priorities. Every department, regardless of whether they're social services or the Arts Commission or HR, has gotten on board feeding up into these citywide metrics. And they have a daily aggregator of reporting data against this that the citizens can see and understand. And they actually have assigned a score, 1 to 10, that sort of says, we're doing really well in this, or we're not doing so well today, this week, this month. And so citizens can see it as it changes in real time. So I think Sam's right. First, to ever get there, we have to get to a culture change. But we would have a citizen tool that would sort of aggregate data from a variety of places and departments so that people could see, today, we're doing really well on this issue, or we could do better on this thing. So I think it is a systemic change over time, but first and foremost, it's about getting this citizen-based interface that people can really see, that I think would take data points from a variety of different places.
So isn't that an IT piece?
Socrata, which is the existing platform that we have, has the ability to turn on some of this functionality. We'd have to build it out a little bit, which is what that $100,000 budget line item is. So I think to Rich's point, there is a product element. The product only is effective if we also do the culture change element. And I think that is about sitting down and really setting those metrics for the city, but then also helping individual departments understand how they feed up into those metrics and helping them collect that data, because data collection doesn't just happen because we snap our fingers.
So is this results matter on steroids?
No.
That's what it sounds like.
That's those.
Tell me why it's not. Tell me how it's different.
Isn't it?
Mr. Roman, you answer that question. You were in the health department when this was going on.
Come up to the mic.
Microphone.
I'm serious. I mean,
Yeah,
just help me
absolutely.
understand that. I mean,
No, I think the structure of results matter was not really focused on getting citizen involvement at all, and there were other issues with results matter also. But it is measurement is needed and is a part of it, but it's more about connecting with citizens and getting their input on what services.
And as
Well,
a department head,
the citizen piece is only being driven out of what we are going to provide for them because we've got to provide the data. So again, I'm still not understanding how it's not different than results
two
matters.
things. The consultant that we would hire would actually engage citizens, would look at your priorities and map them against information that citizens wanted. So that citizens would be engaged in sort of the development of the actual measurement tools themselves. And the other thing, as a department head, this is fundamentally different than Results Matters, because the Results Matters, you set your own departmental metrics that had nothing to do with Keith's metrics or Veronica's metrics. These are city-wide metrics that your department rolls up into. So the reality is they are about community-based change, not just what your department does within your department's silo. Totally and fundamentally different than Results
And
Matters.
they're also fundamentally different in terms of the reporting. So even the strategic management that we do right now and the performance management that we do, measurement that we do in Metro at the moment, is reported, once a year, and audits are conducted. The Office of Financial Accountability measures the validity of those results. They're really only reported once a year and put together for budget hearings and things of that nature. This would, make it a continuous process where that data is being updated in real time, and if a project is failing in December, we don't have to wait until May, June, July when we're formulating the next budget process to really look at that project closely and determine whether or not it's being a success. So to me, that's how it differs from Results Matter in that kind of traditional sense.
Is this software that you're going to be enhancing that you already own, or is this, are you going to develop new software or purchase new software?
My understanding is that we currently use Socrata as our open data portal, and I'm sure Keith would be able to elaborate far more than I can. The City of Chattanooga, for example, uses that same open data portal, and then they're able to build out that exact software to use the data in the open data portal as a kind of dashboard. And so that data feeds into just kind of visual representation. So my understanding is that we would be able to expand it to have that functionality, or if we discovered that that wasn't really serving our needs, we would be able to scout out something different.
And how common is this across the country?
It's becoming more and more common. Louisville has Louistat. Chattanooga has their public available dashboard. Boston, as Jen just mentioned, just launched their data portal. Baltimore has these real-time tracking metrics. So, Nashville's peer cities who are really kind of on the forefront of innovative budgeting and citizen-based budgeting are really moving towards this model. So it's becoming more and more popular, and I really do think it would be good for us to get in on the front end rather than wait.
Great. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Good.
I'd like to take our last